Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be checking out the newest damage champion coming to Paladins, Omen. We're currently on the PTS, and we're going to be checking out all of his abilities, skins, talents, the whole works, and at the end, I'm going to showcase a few builds that I think are pretty good as well. So let's jump right in. This is Omen. He has some very complicated abilities, as you can see here. You can pause the video and read these if you want. I'm not covering up anything either. This is actually kind of perfect, because on the side of me, I would be covering it up, but here are his abilities in detail. I'll be showcasing them in the shooting range in a second. And then we have his skins here as well. I want to briefly show off those. So this is default Omen right here. And in my opinion, it's his best skin. I think it only goes downhill from here. Anyways, next up, this is the skin you can get for gold, 60,000 gold. This is Carrion, which makes him look like a red crayon. The weapon at least looks pretty cool, I think, but the rest of the skin, I don't know, something about it is just weird. It looks a little bit too, like, contrasty and saturated, I don't know. Anyways, his next skin, I think you get this from the diamond chest. This is Stone Edge. They actually called his skin Stone Edge. If you don't understand why it's called that, this is an Echo character of Genos. It's actually the first Echo character we have in this game, where he's meant to be very, very similar looking, and have some similar abilities to Genos, but he's not quite the same. And we'll, again, see that once we get into the shooting range. This is Genos backwards. But the thing I don't get is this skin, when you actually look at it, has nothing to do with Genos. It would have been really funny if this had, like, you know, a Genos color palette going on. Or if it was even, like, human Omen, wearing, you know, Ascension Peak Disciple garb. But no, nothing like that at all. So it's kind of disappointing to me in that aspect, but also it's disappointing to me, and he just looks very one-note with this skin. It's all the same color. I don't know. Anyways, next up we have his gold skin. And I have criticisms of this, too. This looks like a mix between Golden 7 and Golden Terminus, and that's not a compliment. He looks far too saturated, just like Golden 7 does. The gold is almost like too yellow, and the black almost looks like closer to a very dark navy blue, in my opinion. And then his bones, I would almost call it his skin, his bones are just pure yellow. They're all golden, which reminds me of Golden Terminus so much. I think it would have been so much better if he got the Nyx treatment, and his bones were made white, which, you know, would make sense because they're bones, and then the rest of it had the same color palette, because the rest of the color palette is fine, although, again, the gold is a little bit too saturated. At least the weapon looks cool, though. Again, pretty nice weapon. But yeah, those are the skins. Let me know what you think about those in the comment section down below. Alright, so now let's check out Omen's abilities, because he's got a pretty interesting kit with some good combo potential. So, first up is his weapon. Here's a weapon inspect for you. As you can see, it's got some similarities to Genos' weapon. Visually, he's meant to be similar to Genos in terms of, like, you know, he's floating, he's got a similar physique, and the weapon looks similar, but in actuality it functions pretty differently, because it's actually a shotgun. Look at that. Actually pretty crazy spread on the shotgun too, so definitely not a long-range shotgun. You're not sniping with this like you can with Buck. And it does actually pretty crazy DPS. I believe on paper, in a perfect environment, it does 1666 DPS. Which is pretty high. And yeah, if I just semi-auto this thing, it's a bit awkward. You have to get the right rhythm with it to get the max fire rate. But you specifically have to semi-auto in order to use the shotgun. And that's because if I hold down the fire button, watch. The spread gets much narrower, but also the fire rate goes down. So that's the second mode of his rifle here. It's in base kit, all you gotta do is hold down the fire button. And the first few shots will be that shotgun spread, but then it'll narrow down, and you'll become much more precise. So check this out. Shotgun mode, against Ying, yeah, not doing much. But then we narrow down into the semi-auto mode, or the rifle mode, excuse me, and yeah, we get much more precise. And now we're doing 500 damage. One thing you'll note is that also the fall off is pretty tremendous. So you can see we're in the effective range of this Ying right now. Let's go ahead and well, actually we weren't. Yeah, if we fall auto here, and then there we go, we're in rifle mode, and then back out, you see the fall off instantly gets cut in half. There's no gradient fall off to this whatsoever. It's just you're doing 500 damage, now you're doing 250. So, yeah, you got to be careful of that fall off. He's very finicky with his range. He is a very close to medium ranged character. You're not going to be sniping with this guy at all, especially like if you want to try and take sniper duels with Kinessa for some reason. As long as you're using his default gun, which we'll get into that later with his talents. As long as you're using the default gun, like you're going to have to wind up the shotgun first and then go for the peak, which is going to be really weird. But yeah, the slowed fire rate means that you go from about 1600 DPS to around about 1000 DPS, which is actually pretty reasonably balanced. Like, that's nothing crazy, I wouldn't say. But yeah, that shotgun, if you can get in close range and just hit the right rhythm, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. I'm not that good at getting the rhythm down yet, though, when it comes to maintaining the proper, like, the max fire rate, without accidentally converting it into that semi-auto mode. But yeah, you can see how bursty this is. It is really, really bursty. And if we were to, like, only hit headshots, I mean, geez. Look at that damage. That is absolutely bonkers. So yeah, controller players are going to have a field day with this, because it is a hit scan that hits headshots. Yeah, oh my. Anyways, his next ability is a damage gourd. I kid you not, it is a damage gourd, but with the placement of a grok totem. So you can see, we can kind of hover this ability, put it down on the floor, we have a nice little indicator, and when we put it down on the floor, it's a damage gourd. And it expands. Woo! It becomes larger over time, and then it disappears. And it actually does about 2/3 of a squishy champion's health. So then it's very easy to finish them off. And yeah, there's nothing really else to say here, apart from it actually does combo with his primary fire, because there's one thing I left out that I haven't told you yet. If we shoot somebody, you see that thing on top of their head? That is the ominous brand. That is the passive that Omen has. So every time he shoots somebody, he applies this brand to them, and it makes his abilities do something different, or I guess something additional. So if I apply ominous brand to Ying and then put down the gourd, you can see she's slowed by that little arrow there. And if I shoot Fernando, he also gets slowed. So basically, as long as someone has the ominous brand and are standing in the gourd, they will be slowed. And yes, I keep calling it a gourd. His ability names are really confusing, so yeah, forgive me for calling it shotgun, rifle, gourd, yeah. And then his next ability is, it's a void grip. Because, yeah, I don't remember the name of that either. But it's a void grip with extra stuff involved. So if we just pick up Fernando here, we grip him, but then we throw him away. And so there's that extra little bit of crowd control. And yeah, that is, well, pretty straightforward. The thing about the knockback is, if you grip somebody, they go in the opposite direction of your body, not in the direction you're looking. So if I grab this Ying here, and then look behind me, she's still going to hit that wall there. But then, if I were to grab Vic, let me get a bit of Chronos here to show you. 3, 2, 1. Alright, if we grab Vic, and then I move over here, yeah, he's going to go against that wall. And that combos excellently with his next ability, which is literally just a dash. Yeah, there we go, it's a dash. And it leaves behind a trail of what looks to be abyssal spikes that actually do pretty serious DPS. But what you can do is, let me kill Vic real quick. Let me kill these guys so they can get back into their proper place. Here we go. Die! There we go. So what you can do is, you can't shoot while using your void grip. But what you can do is you can grab somebody, dash, and now I've thrown her that way. And, well, she dies because she's over there. So that actually opens up some great combo potential for throwing people off the map or throwing people into places and abilities that they don't want to be thrown into. So it has potential to be very annoying if you are an enemy, but Rizzo counters it pretty hard. So that is something to keep in mind as Omen. And that also combines with his last ability. But before we show you that, I have to show you one more thing, and that is with the Ominous Brand. So if we were to shoot Fernando here, and then pick him up, he takes the smallest DOT, but look at that. I do, what is that, 10% more damage, I believe it is? Point is, I do more damage per second for the next 3 seconds. So you can see there I go from 500 to 575. Another thing is, this also forces you into the rifle mode for a minimum of 2 seconds. So if you don't like the shotgun mode, then that's good. But if you like the shotgun mode and you want to use it with that increased DPS, then you're kind of out of luck. But that damage amp is still pretty ferocious. I mean, it lasts for a pretty decent amount of time. We were able to kill Fernando there with nothing but amped shots. So yeah, that's pretty good to note. But now, it's time to show off his ultimate. I'm just going to shut up and let you see what happens, because this ultimate, it looks amazing.
Step into the dark and die.
Play do play. It's a trick ski.
They stepped into the dark and died. I still can't get over that voice line. It's so dumb, because it... Anyways, so yeah, this thing killed Fernando in 1 second flat. But that wind-up is pretty crazy. So this ultimate is, it's basically the epitome of an ultimate that does a ton of damage, but also takes a very long time to cast, as you can see there. We have, like, multiple phases here, right? We have to, initially, I press E, and I put it on the ground, similar to a gourd. Then we have this cast animation, then we have this wind-up, and then finally we unleash the damage. This gives the enemies a very long time to react to get out of that. Something I can't show you here is that it actually blinds you while you're inside of it. So, like, if I'm standing right here, if I'm this Ying, my screen is just going to become dark and spooky and purple. And that's your warning as an enemy that you need to get the heck out of there because you will die. And you will die. But yeah, let me show you the combo potential. So what we can do is we can do this, right? Put this here. Then we can grab Fernando, dash here, and throw him into it. And he dies. So that is the grand combo potential with his abilities. And it's actually really cool and really fun to do. I only did it once in my Omen testing, and you'll see that later this weekend when I upload that video. But, yeah, it's really cool when you actually get that to succeed. But in practicality, while this ultimate does quite literally 4,440 DPS, that's the actual number. While it does that much DPS for several seconds, the cast time is just so long that in all of my testing, both playing as Omen and watching others play Omen, I have almost never seen this ultimate get value, which, yeah, makes me believe that without coordination, so like, you know, in 99% of games, it's not going to get that much value. What you'll really want to do, if you're thinking in a more competitively viable setting, like let's say you're playing at a higher level ranked game, is if you are going to pick Omen, you want to pick him with someone like Makoa, Khan, or Saris. And when you use his ultimate, you want to be able to basically combo it with those characters. So like, Omen ult, and then when the beam is finally blasting, Saris ult somebody into it, or Makoa hook somebody into it, or Khan ult somebody into it. Because those ultimates, or those abilities, are hard CC. They don't get countered by Rezil, in the same way that like a normal Ashe knockback would. Although, you could also theoretically say, hey, let me play some Ashe and try and knock somebody into the Omen ult. You're going to have to really coordinate with your team to make this ultimate work. Otherwise, the only time it's going to get value is potentially zoning out the point. But due to its weird sort of diagonal or rhombus shape, it actually doesn't even zone out the entire point. So, like, I could stand right here. I think it is actually a sphere, but, like, yeah, I could just... Or a cylinder, excuse me. But I think I could literally just stand right here and still be contesting point and not dying. So, yeah, that's basically the only thing it's good for outside of team coordination and your own coordination of your own abilities. But yeah, it does build really fast, though. That is kind of the one good thing, is that even though it fails a lot, you have a lot of chances to use it. So, like, if I just shoot here, put down a gourd and just continue shooting, and we can also use a dash. The dash actually does really good damage when we combine it with gourd like that. But he builds his ultimate really fast. I'm not using any ultimate amp cards or anything, and look, we already got the ultimate. But if you wanted to rush morale boost and use the ultimate gen card, which he has, then you could do that as well. And let me just show you the raw DPS of the dash as well, because I haven't done that yet. Jump, and dash over there like that. It'll kill Victor and Ying if you stand inside it for long enough. In practicality, the DPS isn't that good, because people don't stand in it like that. But, yeah, I mean, if you are going up against an Omen, you do got to be careful not to stand in that too much. You can see how Omen might have potential to just throw this on point, and then, you know, dash and put that down and be really annoying. You can see there I collided with the Ying there with the dash. It technically knocks them back, but like not really, and it also applies Ominous Brand. I don't think it's really that useful to hit enemies with it, and that's why I did the wall dash there, because you can wall dash and do that like that. And yeah, you are immune to gravity while casting the dash. You can also go in the direction of your movement keys. So if I hold right, I dash to the right. So it's like a Vatu dash in that regard. Basically a two-dimensional Vatu dash, because you can't go upward with it. But yeah, there you go. That is Omen's abilities. So now let's take a look at his talents. The talent I've been using so far today is his default talent, which is pretty boring, but also pretty disgusting. It is Everyone Dies. Ominous Brand's duration is increased to 5 seconds, and now also reveals enemies. You can see why that would be good, right? Because it's basically a permanent tire mark for you, just without the increased damage. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this talent, just because I think this is dumb. I think this is really dumb. But the increased brand duration is helpful, definitely, because that gives you more opportunities to crowd control people and to do more damage with your Void Grip and, you know, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, this is basically the default playstyle for Omen, and hey, yeah. Anyways, next up we have Umbral Lance. This is the talent I was talking about earlier, in regards to changing your weapons playstyle. This just permanently sets you to the rifle mode, which is called Antumbra mode. So we can grab this, and now, no wind-up, I'm just permanently in this mode. The actual name of this talent should just be Binary Star, because it's the exact same thing as Genos' Binary Star, just, you know, obviously, the damage numbers are better, because he's a damage champion. But if you like Binary Star Genos, and you're looking for an even more powerful damage kit to use it with your Void Grip still, literally just damage Genos, then here's your playstyle. Just making actual Binary Star Genos even more irrelevant than it already was. But this talent actually looks to be pretty viable as well, because, well, it's very convenient to not have to worry about your shotgun spread, and not have to worry about having bad range, because your range is just going to constantly be good with this talent. But you're going to lack that close range damage. You're not going to be able to shotgun blast this Fernando for 1600 DPS like you normally would. So that's kind of the trade-off of that. But I think it'll be a popular talent just like that, for the same reason that Old Cursed Revolver was popular for Androxus, because it's just so convenient. And then finally, we have Binary Void, which gives Deadly Domain 2 charges, but increases its cooldown by 3 seconds. This one seems pretty boring, and also I don't think you'll see this one a lot, particularly because of this. They don't stack. Ying is not taking double damage there, even though she's inside of both of the gourds. This is just like, it's more area damage. You'll be really annoying on the point by just spamming gourds nonstop. But, I just don't see this being as good as his other talents. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section down below. But personally, I have not seen a single person play this on the PTS yet. Partially because you don't start out with all the talents on the PTS. For some reason, they're not all unlocked for you, even if you bought the appropriate DLC. So, yeah, that's a bit awkward. But, yeah, I don't know. This one just doesn't seem like a particularly interesting talent. At least it's not as bad as Azan's talents, though. Anyways, next up, I want to show you his cards, and in particular, some builds that I think are very interesting for him. So, the first build that I think most people were interested to see was this build, which uses the More card. So, this card decreases your your ammo by a lot, by 10, so you only have 2 maximum ammo, but you increase Aphotic Reaver's damage by 40%. So this basically turns you into a double barrel shotgun, which actually is pretty crazy, especially when you buy Deft Hands. And I have paired this with a few cards here that seem pretty interesting. I've been testing Lightless. I probably could drop this in favor of another card. I would just wanted to test this in a real match to see how good the trail damage was, but you could probably swap this out for, you know, travel distance of the Dark Stride or range of Gravity Vice. That's probably actually a good card, so I'll throw that in there. And here, we'll do this. How about this? Increase travel distance. There we go. But yeah, I've just put health in here because obviously health makes sense if you're going to get up close to somebody with your shotgun. And we have Coming End in here at level 2. And the reason we have this at level 2 and not any higher is because, well, it scales on ammo. So it does not scale duration or anything like that, you only need 2 ammo on this, because your max ammo is 2. Any higher, and you're just wasting points into this card. If you want to use this card without this card, you know, if you want to use Coming End without more, then yeah, absolutely, you can scale that up to 5. That absolutely totally makes sense. But if you want to use it with this card, then level 2 is all you need. And I think it actually makes sense with this card. So let me just show you the base DPS of this. Bam, bam. And we actually do need 4 shots to kill the Ying there, because the final shot does not finish her off. Now, if we hit a headshot, obviously then we 3-tap. But without deft hands, you can see that's not a super impressive time to kill. So, let's get some deft hands, and let's see how that feels. That goes pretty crazy, doesn't it? Now we're starting to be a little bit intimidating. And yeah, you can see how this works with the gourd. So we can basically shoot, put down the gourd, and we get like 4 shots basically. So I find it to be like most convenient if I just, you know, I put down the gourd and then I shoot. Because the effect basically takes place for like half a second after you put the gourd down. So yeah, you can basically, you have time to put the gourd down, then instantly start shooting. And yeah, look at how much ammo I get before I finally have to reload. So that's why I'm using that card level too. It makes such a huge difference. So yeah, put that down again. And we could just melt Fernando like that. It's actually pretty crazy. But yeah, this obviously, if you're going to use it with this talent, runs into range issues. Look at that. Sometimes we get the 700 proc on Fernando, but you can see one of those shots there didn't even do damage at all. Then we get 175. It's very inconsistent. The shotgun is not good at medium range. It's only good at close range here. Or finally, we're starting to do some serious damage. That, my friends, is where we discovered something that's actually kind of broken. Umbral Lance Binary Star works with this card. You turn it from a double-barrel shotgun into a double-barrel rifle. Oh boy. So we can equip this, and now
I don't care about
we're no longer limited by range.
spend these credits.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. So yeah, that's pretty filthy. But then you can see we still run into that 50% no gradient fall-off issue. But this is definitely a lot more consistent and ultimately more powerful than just using the base shotgun. The base shotgun, again, actually better if you use it at this range, but in a real fight, you're going to be taking a lot more fights at this range just because of how Paladins works. You know, people are going to run away from you, people are going to engage you from different places, so this is the more consistent way to do it. You cannot two-shot with 2 headshots unless the enemy is exceptionally squishy. But yeah, this is... oh my gosh, dude. This is where it gets disgusting. And it also makes it a little bit easier to use your gourd combo where you do this, and then ba-da-ba-ba-ba. There we go. We just shredded that Fernando so easily. And the gourd also does good damage. So, I mean, if you throw that on an enemy, and then you just go to town, like, holy crap, man. This damage is... it's bonkers. This card is bonkers with this talent. So, we originally thought, oh, you're going to use the double-barrel shotgun, and you're going to be doing like 2,000 damage per second with your shotgun. No, 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 no. You want to use this card with Umbral Lance. That's the actual way to do it, and that is pretty insane. But let's check out some other builds now, because he does have some build diversity, I guess. So the build I've been using for this testing is Dash AoE. This is a build I wanted to test just for the dash damage. It's got a bit of travel distance, duration, and also this card that heals for 15 every time Dark Stride does damage to an enemy. It does damage 10 times per second, 10 ticks per second, so that is 150 healing per second, basically, per enemy. So if I do this right now... that's going to be 150 times 3. So 450 healing per second. Obviously unrealistic, you're not going to get that much healing out of it. But the point of this build was basically to see how good is the dash? The damage on paper, it looks tremendous, but it really is not that consistent in an actual match, so this probably isn't a good build to run, but I just wanted to test it. Next, we have a double gourd build. There is one really interesting card for this that I kind of thought to use, and that is Noxious Guard. Gain a 280 shield at level 4 for 3 seconds after casting Deadly Domain. And this actually stacks. So we put Gourd down, I have 2,800 HP for a few seconds, and then it goes back down.
Play do play.
But yeah, this will give you more uptime on your ammo card as well, so if you want to play rarely reload Omen, then be my guest. And yeah, shield card, there we go, do that. More consistent Gourd spammage on the point. It's a play style, you can run it. I could see people running this and being reasonably happy. It still seems kind of boring to me, but I mean, no denying that shield card will come in very handy, and that extra ammo is very nice. So yeah, there's that build. Then we have the ult spam build. This has the card that grants him 30% ultimate charge rate. And this, again, we should probably swap out Lightless because it's not actually that good. But we can do this, and then, yeah. This will basically just, let me also put travel distance, there we go. This will basically charge your ultimate really, really fast. And we can buy Morale Boost, and we can show you how fast he can actually generate this ultimate. So, I'll just throw the ultimate, like, randomly over here. And you can actually build ultimate while the ultimate is going out. The actual ultimate itself doesn't build ultimate charge. But, there we go. And, hey, I have another one. Here we go. Let's throw that down. And now, let's throw in a Gourd and do more damage. Oh, here we go. Let's maybe throw in a Void Grip. Wabam. Bada 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 ba. Bada ba. Here we go. And this is a bit unrealistic of a representation of how good his ultimate gen is, because obviously you're not going to be doing all this damage so consistently throughout the match. Also, people are going to be shooting at you. It's going to be slower than that in a real game. But if you want to spam his ultimate, you can definitely spam his ultimate. But again, that cast time means that you're kind of just spamming a bunch of nothing burgers around the map. So, you know, take that for what you will. Another good thing about the ultimate, though, is that during that cast animation that you saw there, you are slightly damage resistant, and you are crowd control immune, so that is something else you can think about. If you want to quickly, like, dodge a Sarah Assault, you can just be like, oh, whew, there we go, I dodged it. Oh no, I put the ultimate on my teammates, they're gonna die! That's not how that works, but yeah. So, I mean, it certainly is pretty fun and satisfying to see his ultimate go up this fast, though, isn't it? But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not that great. Also, you can cancel it with right-click. That's what I accidentally did there. If you don't want to put it down, you can just right-click and save it. So yeah, there we go. Oh. It really is satisfying to see them fall over, though. But anyways, one last build is this funny knockback build, where we have the knockback strength of Gravity Vice increased to 50%. It's okay. I'm gonna go over to the victors here to show you how far this can knock them back. But I don't think this card is really worth running all that much, because it doesn't seem that crazy to me. So here we go. We can pick him up and yeet. And I could throw him into the trail. He actually almost died there. But yeah, I mean, it sent him over here. It's an okay distance, but like, I think there are just more worthwhile cards to run than that. And the only real point of doing that would be if you want to throw somebody off the map on, like, Frog Isle, which could make sense. But, yeah, I think at the very least it's going to be relegated to a sort of niche card. But, yeah, a lot of interesting card playstyles and varieties and things. So, definitely a lot of stuff to experiment with. And, well, Omen mains will have some fun making some new playstyles. So, that is Omen in a nutshell. That's all of his abilities, all of his talents, loadout cards, the whole works. So, let me know what you think about Omen in the comment section down below. I'll have gameplay footage of him coming this weekend, so you won't want to miss out on that. Make sure you're subscribed for that. I also played all of the balance changes, or at least all of the important balance changes and the skins, over on my VODs channel, which is linked in the description, and my Twitch, if you prefer watching the VODs on Twitch. They're there as well. So yeah, go watch that, and with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.